What's up, Boondies? I'm going to take you through how I walk individuals through an InBody so we can develop a more systemic and consistent process for how to do this and train our eyes for what to pay attention to. This will also be a great educational tool for a lot of you on just body composition in general. Let's start top to bottom. I'm going to show you what I prioritize and what I kind of skip through. Body composition analysis. What this is going to show us is not that much useful information. Intra and extracellular water, kind of useful. Intracellular water is the type of water that's stored in the muscle. And as this number increases, it's usually correlated to increase in lean muscle tissue. Great. Improved immune system, improved electrolyte transfer. Fantastic. Now, extracellular water, type of water floating outside of the muscle. This plays a very important role in our health. However, when this number goes up, it's usually correlated to either chronic inflammation, chronic stress, an acute injury, a chronic injury because of that inflammation response, or improved body fat mass. And that's why there's more fat outside of the cell that's increasing. So we want to see that intracellular water going up slowly, the extracellular water staying the same. A 3-to-2 ratio, which I put on here. They don't need to know this, but you do. 3-to-2 ratio, it's nice to see. Don't overthink that. You'll notice I put a 0.75 to 1 gram here. I like to reference this later on of saying this is probably going to end up our protein range that we encourage you to eat. Based on your total weight, it's probably going to be somewhere in here, maybe less depending on your goal. Let's go down to muscle fat analysis, the real meat potatoes. This is the composition. So where we learn to read the thing. Now you'll notice I made a C-shaped curve on here with my pen earlier. I like to draw the dots. This has to do with on the spectrum of their percentage of the norm. If this low end represents about the 50th percentile and this higher end is like 205th percentile, where do they fall? Now, this gray dash bar, it's not that useful, but it's the 85th to 115%, which is the mean, right? The 100th percentile, the average person's right here in the middle. For weight, muscle mass, body fat, they all have their own, right? This individual is up here at about the 100 and we'll call it 140th percentile, 40% heavier than the average person, their age, height, weight, and gender. If their goal is to be like a big bodybuilder, that might be good for now, but I don't think it is. They probably want to get back towards this healthier range of weight. But what's this mean if they have a C curve? A C curve means, you see I did it up here, their muscle tissue is low relative to their body fat mass is slightly high. And it makes a bit of a C curve. Does that mean they should gain muscle to get it proportional to their weight? Not in this individual circumstance. This individual should probably aspire to get their entire weight to shift while keeping muscle mass. So I would set this individual's goal to get their weight here, probably their body fat here, and maintain this muscle curve. With that muscle maintaining, what happens to their curve if it starts to look like a D? It inverted, right? This would be they maintained muscle tissue, but they lost body fat. They took their body fat and they took it down to this point. Their total weight shifted down to this point. And now their muscle mass is really high relative to their weight. That's called inverting the curve. We made it a D shape. Athleticism occurs at a D shape. As a matter of fact, at some point, maybe even getting into a more long-term goal could be like here at a J shape. J shape is going to occur like this, where their weight is here, their muscle mass is out here, and their body fat is down here. This would be like a really lean athletic individual. Relative to their total weight, look at where their body fat and their muscle mass is, right? Look how far these points are from each other. That is composition shifting. Now, what would happen if we had an individual with a C curve out here or out here? This individual has a lot of muscle mass relative to the norm, but their body fat and their total weight is really high. They need to get catabolic. They need to get into a cut, even if it means sacrificing muscle tissue. We want to get them serious weight loss, overall weight loss, body fat loss is going to be their goal. Right? Maintain as much of the muscle tissue as you can, but like let's start to get healthier and lean it out. What about this person who's more in the middle here? Their muscle mass is right above average, is average. Their weight is just above average. Their body fat is slightly above average. This person is basically skinny fat. We want to encourage them to start to slowly actually increase muscle tissue. They're a little weak, start decreasing body fat. Their weight's just going to slightly shift over time. And this would be their composition shift, right? They'd start to see that J or D curve start to happen as they build muscle through a high protein strength training diet and slowly decrease body fat. They would be in a slight calorie deficit with a high protein diet to achieve this. Slight calorie deficit, high protein diet. Whereas this individual in the same C curve is now below the healthy recommended weight. Yes, they have low muscle tissue and they have a normal acceptable amount of body fat. Should I tell them to lose body fat? This person should probably maintain this level of body fat and build muscle tissue. Now their weight's going to end up here if they keep body fat low, and they'll attain that J or D curve. This person needs to go anabolic and be on somewhat of a bulk. They can even afford to pick up a little body fat along the way. And then someone who's really lean out here really needs to just pick up body fat, muscle mass and body fat, and get to a healthy weight, right? We want people to end up in this healthy weight for the most part and get their muscle mass to be above average and their body fat to be below that. The leaner it is, fine, that's great for them if they want that, but at least for general health, the closer it went, like an I curve, fine, but ideally some type of muscle higher than weight while weight is in a normal range. So prioritization, if they're out here with total weight, they need to lose total weight. They're out here with total weight, lose total weight. Once they're just kind of out above average zone, it starts to become like lose weight but maintain muscle. Out here, it's really like build some muscle, lose weight till you're down here below this normal range. This person in the middle, by the way, they can really just recomp, or just build some muscle, burn some fat. That's a great place to start. Anyone below the normal amount of weight, we're going to start encouraging them to build muscle first. They're skinny fat and more skinny than skinny fat. So it's all on a spectrum relative to weight, depending on where they're at. Now, if somebody already comes in and they already have this desirable level of fitness, you're just going to encourage them to sharpen the saw and make small marginal improvements. Let's talk about body fat percentage. 13% below, unhealthy. X. Don't do that. Too lean for most women to maintain. Whereas 13 to 18% fitness zone. A lot of our trainers are here, fitness models, athletes, lean muscle striation. They're healthy. They have a lot of muscle tissue to sustain this low body fat, and it's a healthy fitness level. 18 to 23%, very lean, healthy. See some muscle striation. You're not going to have like a six pack, but you're going to have like visible muscle lines and overall great shape, and you're very healthy here. And this is more attainable for a lot of people without as much dramatic lifestyle shift. 23 to 28% is healthy. It's great. They're going to feel good, look good, move well at this point. Low implications of anything health related. This might be their goal. They might have more curves here, whatever, depends on their body, or they might want to end up a little bit leaner than this, maybe in this mid zone. Depends on the individual. Now, 28% and above, we're probably going to start encouraging them into a slight deficit. But 28 to 33%, this is average. So folks, it's okay, it's normal. We might want to encourage them to start making health improvements before they go the other direction. And they might just, feel better if they do. And 33% and above, they're now above average body fat. They really want to start getting their habits under control. 38% and above, we are overweight or obese. Once we get to the four, like obese, we really need to start making some habit change and make it incremental and attainable for them, right? Don't be like, oh, you should get down to 20% body fat. You're at 43, like, cool. That's going to be crazy. Be like, hey, let's make a goal of like, let's get into the next category. Let's shift in the next 1 to 2 months. Let's see if we can shift categories, because 2 to 3% a month is real. So in like 2 months, they could shift categories pretty easily. And then like 3 months, 6 months, they're going to start seeing some real changes. Like, don't get too far beyond a 6-month goal, people. Segmental analysis, if it's not like a quarter pound or more, ignore it. This person had slightly bigger right arm to left arm. I'll just say like train your left side work first. It's slightly non-dominant, and your legs are about even. Train your non-dominant side first. ECW, this is just a ratio of water. Above 0.39, they have inflammation or an injury. Below 0.36, they super dehydrated. Most people are going to end up here. I've never really seen it beyond that. Comp history, you can start to create goals for them. Like, hey, we're going to build 0.25 muscle mass a month. This is month 1, 2, and 3. We're going to lose 2 to 3%. Then we'll be down 4 to 5%. Then we're down 6 to 7% by month 3 here. Maybe by month 6, you're up 1.5 pounds of muscle tissue and you've lost 10% body fat. Amazing. And by the way, what's 10% of 151? 1% is 1.5 pounds. 10% would be 15 pounds. So if they lost 15 pounds, they'd probably end up like way down here with their body fat. Awesome. And that's over 6 months. They're going to be down here in like a super healthy range. And maybe they've even picked up a little muscle tissue and they end up kind of up here. And now their weight starts to go like, they start to make this nice curve shape, that nice JD curve in 6 months. Amazing. Let's take it to the BMR, basal metabolic rate. Calories burned at rest. We're going to use this to calculate TEE, total energy expenditure. TEE is total energy expenditure. It's a combination of 4 things: BMR, NEAT, EAT, and TEF. BMR, I rounded up to 1350. They're NEAT. You ask them a question, non-exercise activity. What's your lifestyle look like outside of working out? Working out don't count. I give them 300 if they're pretty sedentary, 400 if they're moderate, 500 if they tell me they're very active. This person, pretty realistic. They said I work a desk job and I go on some walks. Pretty sedentary. 300. Then EAT, exercise activity. You ask them how many days a week they want to do Bunda or they currently do Bunda. Bunda's 400 calorie day average. So let's say this individual said they were doing like 3 to 4 days a week. Let's say that they're doing 1,200 to 1,600 calories a week, average it at 1,400. That's how I got to 200 a day. There's 7 days a week. So 1,400 divided by 7 is 200 a day. So if they say 3 to 4 days, it's about 200 calories. If they say it's 5 to 6 days, it might be close to 300 calories, right? Take the total amount, 400 times days worked out, 400 times 5, for example, 5 days a week is 2,000 divided by 7 is going to be closer to 300 calories a day. So this person gets 200. And then the thermic effect of food, because I round up elsewhere around down here, it's about 10% of your BMR. 100. This person, 1950 was their total energy expenditure, and we decided we're going to put them in a high protein calorie deficit. I then refer back up to here, where I said it's going to probably be about 3/4 gram per pound that they weigh. Let's find out on the next page, Boondies. Let's find out shortly.